Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Wrestling Diaries. I'm your host, Mitchell Roulane. Podcast show for the average Joe, the Wrestling Diaries. Check us out on Google Podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all the other platforms that host audio podcasts. Leave us a review so we show up in the algorithms and our content can get out there. For the video content, go to YouTube, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell right there for more content. We release once to twice a week. This is a show where, if you're wondering, because we have like regular people from society come on and talk about themselves and then ultimately the things that they struggle with. Sometimes it's very helpful, other people listening to that, about the troubles they have in life and how to overcome that, I guess. I don't know. My guest today is the dancing queen, Lorie Flanagan.
Maybe not that kind of dancing.
So I give everybody like a moniker when they're coming on the show, like a professional wrestler. That's why I do that.
Oh, okay.
People are like, oh, yeah, I want to come on your show, but I don't know. Like, I don't keep up with, like, you know, the WWF or WWE or whatever it's called. So like as a spoof to that,
Yeah,
I announce people out. And then Matt has this audience bit that comes on. So when you actually listen to the show back, you'll hear an audience cheering for you and clapping and whistling at you and all that.
Nice.
We are drinking Pepsis, ladies and gentlemen, in a glass cup. Yummy. I haven't had Pepsi in probably like 7 years. Popping my Pepsi cherry here. I wonder if they have Pepsi, cherry Pepsi.
They do.
Yeah, they do. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Jerry.
Lorie, hello.
Hi.
Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you were begging me for so long to come on the show that I was just like, okay, Lorie, fine. To give somebody a quick background real quick, and I'm not trying to dominate the show, but I am the host. I do what I want. Lorie is an old friend of mine. Not too old. Like, I've only known you probably half a decade, maybe a little more than half a decade. But
Yeah, I think more.
yeah, you were a patient at the doctor's office that I used to help manage once upon a time. You came in there for getting some adjustments done and some other therapies and stuff like that, and that's how we met. And then we also found out that we had mutual people we knew because you had worked at Costco at the time, and I had some friends that worked there, and bada bang, bada boom. And then also,
Then dancing came in.
Yeah, I started taking up Ballroom. Where was that place? That
It was in Vestavia.
and what was it called? It's been so
Champion Latin.
Champion Latin, owned by Mr. Sterling, and I forget what his last name was.
Burroughs.
Right. You still talk to him?
No.
Oh, well, that's good. I don't know. But so tell me, how did you get into ballroom dancing? We'll just go there. We'll start there. Right. That's a good piece. She used to be my old ballroom dancing teacher, ladies and gentlemen, for anybody listening to this.
Yes. So short answer would be when I was dating my now husband, he bought me a gift certificate for dance lessons. And it was like, we met like a week before my birthday, and he decided to buy me that for my birthday. He knew I like to dance.
Groupon,
yes.
Okay.
And so the gift certificate lasted for a year. And a day before the year ended, I said, hey, we haven't used this yet.
Okay.
And we were married by then. And I was like, let's go use it. And he was like, oh, yeah, I'm not going to do that. So I went and did it myself.
And then, okay.
Yeah, and I've loved it ever since.
Now, prior to that, like, obviously he was getting this because it's something that you liked or loved or something, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so long story is I've been dancing since I was 3.
Okay.
Not ballroom, but I did like the typical combination school, tap, jazz, ballet, gymnastics. And I grew up in Andalusia, and we only had 2 dance schools there. It was either strictly ballet or the combination school. So I did the combination school, and I loved it, and I did everything that they had to offer until I graduated from high school. And my dad, though, used to teach at Arthur Murray in Montgomery for like a year. He did that to meet ladies, and
did it work?
It did not.
Oh no!
Because as anybody has been to ballroom dancing, the age range for my dad teaching at 21 versus the age range of students that were coming in was about 30 to 40 year difference.
Okay.
So he did meet ladies, just not the kind that he was thinking he would meet.
Sure. And so what kind of dancing was he teaching?
He was teaching ballroom. He was teaching, he was teaching swing and waltz and foxtrot. Anyway, he restored classic cars. And so we would always go to car shows with him, and I would do swing with my dad. And while I didn't understand that was like an actual ballroom dance, I just thought it was fun. Whenever I started doing ballroom, I understood that it was ballroom. And then he told me about his background and what he did. And then I was like, oh, that's cool. We can share something together or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. So it's kind of something that you just grew up in.
Yes.
And then fast forward, you're the guy at the time who's like trying to woo you.
Obviously did a very good job.
Wind of that. And let me ask this question. Does he ballroom dance as well?
Absolutely not.
Why not? Shouldn't that be a thing? Like he should have like learned it and then like took you on there.
Yeah,
like,
it would be.
My God.
Yeah, it would be really cool, but no, he doesn't.
I'm so sorry, man. I'm putting you in the doghouse. I apologize. I don't even know who you are, but I apologize in advance for that. I ask questions. That's what I do.
We've had several conversations about it.
Has he even have you tried to teach him like just at home, just playing around in the kitchen while you're cooking? You're like, oh, come here.
He did ask me to teach him when the whole quarantine started for COVID, where he had to be home for a week.
Right.
And he was like, well, I don't have anything else to do. I might as well try to learn this. And we did. It's actually on my Instagram page where I have him on video doing it for
Oh, I've got to go
one little
scope this
60-second thing.
I wish I would have like taken pictures of myself when I was doing it. Good times.
Well, you could just redo it.
Maybe. I don't know.
And then we could get pictures now.
I'm really busy. I'm a busy guy. I can find a way to lasso me down. Then I can try to add another thing to my plate of already full plates of things.
Gotcha.
But yeah, a little backstory for people wondering, like around the time I was doing ballroom dancing with Lorie, I also was doing martial arts with my friend Matt. I was doing Krav Maga and Thai boxing and stuff like that. And I was doing them both in the same week, and it was so hilarious because I remember both of you. I don't know if I told you this story. If I didn't, then you're going to hear it for the first time on the show. But Matt, my martial arts trainer and my friend, like I would go there and like I would help him train after the class was over for his own personal improvement, and he would also use me as a test dummy during the classes for everybody to see. But he was like, man, you're coming along really well, and like thanks for helping me out. He's like, really. It would be great if you could start doing the advanced classes with me and help me train with that and train some of the people going in the advance. And I was like, oh, well, I would. And the day he said I would need to come was the day that I was doing ballroom. I don't remember. It was like I did that on Tuesday and ballroom was on Thursday. I don't remember. It was one of the two, something like that.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, I would, but I do ballroom dancing on that day, on Thursdays or whatever day it was. And he goes, what? Are you kidding me, man? Ballroom dancing? He said just like this verbatim. Matt, if you listen to this, I'm sorry, throwing you under the bus. Ballroom dancing. You've got to be kidding me, dude. Okay, so what are you going to use that for in your life, right? So like you'll be out here. Here's the scene, man. You're downtown Birmingham. Somebody comes out to try to mug you. You're with your girl. And then you're just now, because you've been dancing, you're like this effeminate male, and you just kind of do like a little like side step out of the way, and he takes your girl, and that's it. That's what happens, right? And he's like laughing at me. People in the class are making fun of me and laughing.
I'm so sorry.
Then, fast forwarding, I was doing ballroom dancing with you guys. And you might start to remember this. And I was coming in all the time, and I was starting to learn the basic steps. And I was getting decent at it. I don't want to toot my own horn. And then you were like, hey, you should start coming to the advanced classes on yada yada. And I was like, oh, I would. But that's the day that I do martial arts, do self-defense training and stuff like that. And then you go, oh.
Yeah, I remember I thought you made up the word.
Yeah. You were like, come on, honey. Like that self-defense, karate. It wasn't karate, just so we're clear.
No way.
But I'm paraphrasing. But you were like, come on, you're not going to find a girl doing that stuff.
Well, we won't.
Well, I mean, I wasn't in there for trying to find a girl. I was like trying to learn how to like fight and all this stuff.
Well, I remember there was one girl in particular that you were interested in, who also did ballroom dancing at the time.
Oh, that is true. Actually, I forgot about that. I 100 forgot about that.
Yeah.
That was probably like 60.
That may be the reason why I said that.
I don't want to say 60 because I was really wanting to educate myself in new things, and ballroom always tantalized me because I was like, oh, it's sexy and it's cool, and like girls are really into it. Like if you can dance, like I don't know, it's girls are really into that stuff. So
it's like playing the guitar.
I'd give it like a 60-40. 60% of it was for me. Like I wanted a new skill, new education to something. But then the other 40% was me just trying to chase this cute blonde. So yeah, if she knows, like I'm not going to give any names out, but if she knows who I'm talking about, shout out to you, person who didn't like want to go out with me and didn't want to let me take you out on a date. Yeah. Anyway, also I'm like too punk rock. I think there was a thing. It was like, oh well, if you could be better at ballroom dancing, then like we can go out and all this stuff because I want to dance. And I was like, well, I don't want to have to learn that just for you to go out with me. So forget you.
Right.
That was also my mentality.
Yeah. Okay, gotcha. See why that didn't work out.
I'm glad it didn't work out though. No offense, but anyway. So you have since then opened up your own ballroom dancing studio, right?
Yes, I have.
Let's talk about that.
Okay.
What's it called? Where's it at?
It's called Twist Ballroom Studio, and it's in Pelham. And I opened in December of 2021. So it's very new.
Congratulations, first
Thank
of all.
you.
I don't know if I told you this on social media, but now I'm telling you live. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Because I know like when you were working for Champion,
yes,
there was talks about you like moving up or eventually like taking over that maybe or something. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And then I guess things didn't work out. I don't know. I stopped kind of keeping up with you all, so I don't know the story there.
Rude.
But when I found out that you like opened your own studio, like yourself, like I was so happy for you. Like I really was, like 100%.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually tried to do it a few years prior to this, but then I was and wound up pregnant with twins, and I realized that wasn't going to happen. Actually, my family helped me realize that it wasn't going to happen. I still wanted it to happen. Yeah. But God had other plans. So stayed home with those guys for a long time, and now I've taught at the Pelham Rec Center, and the student base just kept growing, and I didn't have any more room to put them anywhere. And I had a hard time finding places to rent from, like rent floor space. Right. And so I was just like, well, we're going to open up a place and see how it goes.
And how's it going so far? Like
it's really
open for like almost, what, 2 months now?
Yeah, it's going really good.
Getting a lot of memberships and people coming in.
Yeah. Much more than I expected.
So, and I know like some people might be wondering, like, how does one start a ballroom dancing studio of their own? Like, what are the bells and whistles of all that stuff?
Not a whole lot. You just need floor and walls and mirrors.
Did you like, you don't own the building, I'm assuming? You're renting it?
No, I'm renting it, yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I just pay a rental fee and pay the power bill. And
then you went and got a business license also, I'm assuming.
Yes.
See, this is the part that I want to get into because for people wanting to try to start a business or something, like what does that look like? Like what do they have to do? Whether it's ballroom dancing or anything, if they want to open a restaurant.
Whatever it is, you just, you contact the city that you're wanting to open up a business in, and basically they tell you everything you need.
Really?
I called them and I was like, hey, I'm trying to, open up a studio. Can you tell me all the stuff that I need to be able to do that from your end? And then I have a accountant, tax professional, and he helped me with an itemized list of things that I would need to do. And I have a lawyer who I spoke with and checked on that side to see if there was anything I needed to do from his side. And they basically walked me through the whole process. And it was pretty easy. So
yeah, this doesn't surprise me either. Like when you used to come into Canic Wellness and stuff like that, and we would talk about these things, I was like, she's like very like ambitious and very industrious. She's one of these very like strong-willed, independent types. And I was like, you doing this it's not surprising at all. I was like, oh yeah, makes sense. I'm not like, oh my gosh, she opened up a dance studio? Of course.
Yeah, I've been saying it for years, and it finally happened. Actually, I found a paper that I had written, I think in 5th grade, that was asking, and my teacher had asked, like, where did we see ourselves in like 10 or 15 years or something like that? And my paper was all about me owning a dance studio and taking over for the lady that was in Andalusia. And
so you are essentially living how old were you when you did that?
It was probably 5th grade.
5th grade. So 5th grade, you're living out 5th grade you's dreams right now.
Apparently so.
How does that feel?
I didn't even remember writing it, and it feels pretty good. Yeah.
How did you just came across this, like looking through some
my mom was, as your parents do, they go through old things and try to give you all the old stuff that they don't want of yours anymore.
Right.
And that paper was in there, and she was like, "You need to read this. It's so cute." And yeah.
So like also reading that, I can imagine you being like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
Kind of trippy, right?
It was.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So I had a lot of confidence back then, even though back then I really didn't have any confidence, but I had enough confidence to know that I wanted to have a dance studio at some point.
Yeah. So what is your goals for your for Twist? Your studio.
Okay, so
I'm gonna fix this chair real quick. Keep talking.
That's fine. If I could have, all of my dreams come true, then I would like to be the studio that's the most popular in the area, like even more so than Fred's. So when people think ballroom,
What's
Fred's, Fred Astaire. You don't know. Yeah, Fred Astaire and is a ballroom company.
Okay.
Like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, like the old movies. Please tell me you know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, he was pretty famous, and they have a franchise, and they're all over the place. So most people, when they think ballroom, they think to contact Fred Astaire Ballroom Studio.
Yeah.
And so I hope that Twist will be the name in Birmingham and Hoover and Pelham and Alabaster.
Wow. Why did you pick Pelham? Is that where you live?
I live in Alabaster.
I'm sorry. I should
it's fine.
give out your personal information here.
It's fine.
Not that personal.
And I was trying to pick like a in-between location because I have students in Hoover and Vestavia, and then I have students in Alabaster and Pelham. And I could not find anything in Hoover. Hoover was kind of the location that I wanted, but I couldn't find anything that I could afford. So I could find something in Pelham that I could afford. And it worked out good because my students were willing to drive to Pelham, but not so willing to drive to Alabaster. And the ones from Alabaster weren't so willing to drive to like the Vestavia location. So, so it worked out. It's kind of a good in-between.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool. So another question I have, does anybody that we knew from Champion, like, are they there at your place? Really?
Yeah.
We're going to do some name drops. Well, you got to give them some shout outs, right?
You're
going to listen to the show. Their ballroom person is on the Wrestling Diaries.
Well, some of our students that were at Champion have, like, that I was their teacher. They have followed me continuously, even when I wasn't teaching. Some of them wouldn't take from anyone unless it was me, which is nice. And when I started teaching again, they decided to start taking again. So, so a few of them, and then a few more. Lynette, you know Lynette.
Lynette's there?
Yeah.
She didn't tell me.
Yeah.
She did not tell me.
Well, I don't know when you've spoken to her.
I spoke to her 2 days ago.
Yeah. I didn't tell her I was coming here either.
Oh, she was on the show. I don't know if you knew that or not. Yeah, okay.
I did.
Yeah, she was on the show. We had fun.
Yeah, but she's there. And then Pat, I don't know if you remember Pat.
Sounds very familiar. Brunette lady.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
She's there, and Jeff and Becky are there. And I don't know if Jeff and Becky were friends with the lady that you were trying to woo. And then
this is so long ago.
Yeah, I know.
This is years ago. So.
And then, so I don't know if the names mean anything to you anymore. But Lynette, I know. Lynette, I know.
You ever still talk to Maggie?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Oh, you did? I didn't know you remembered her name. Yeah.
I'm not that much of a butthole. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, she's a chiropractor now.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, actually, that makes a lot of sense because I think I remember seeing stuff on social media about her shadowing at Legacy Chiropractic, which is Dr. Johnson, who took over for Dr. Koenig.
Right.
They're all a bunch of just nerds.
Yeah.
I care about those people. I'm kidding.
Anatomy nerds.
I'm kidding. Anatomy nerds. Chiropractors aren't real doctors. Come on. Let's all agree. Matt's smiling. He knows it's true. I'm kidding. Just so we're clear, I'm kidding. Or maybe I'm not. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So she's a doctor now.
Get triggered.
So, yeah.
That's cool. That's good.
It's
good
really
for her.
Cool.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does she still do ballroom dancing?
Not as much anymore. But she does like to dance still. So
I wonder
if
she has this thing where, like, if someone's maybe she might be married or not. I have no idea. But I wonder if she has this thing if she is single to where they have to be a chiropractor to take her out to Wendy's.
Stop. No, stop.
I'm joking. Here's the thing, like, all jokes aside, like, I'm a huge smart ass and I just say whatever. Like, people can like me, don't like me, I don't care, it's fine. This is what happens. I am me, unapologetically.
Gotcha.
So moving forward in the conversation, Lorie, What else is going on with you? You also do these like makeup tutorials online, like on Instagram and I guess Facebook, and you have like a thing you do. What's that all about? What are you doing there?
Well, I actually started the whole makeup thing to go along with Ballroom when I was at Champion. Because what I thought in my head, or what I envisioned, was that when we went to competitions, that I would be able to do the girls' makeup and save them a ton of money. Because when you go to competitions, you have to spend a fortune to get your hair and makeup done. And so I thought, well, I could use the same type product that they're using at the competitions, but do it for much less.
Yeah.
And that didn't go over so well with the boss. So I like the makeup so much that I decided to start selling it as kind of like a side gig.
Yeah.
And it has its ups and downs. Some months I do really well and some months I don't. Just depends on how much time and effort I put into it.
I love your consistency though. Like you keep at it. Like I always see these like little tutorials of you and I'm like, oh, you look like a lot of the other people that do the tutorials like on Instagram and stuff like that. And I was like, you're no different. It's great.
Thanks. Yeah. It took a while to get comfortable with taking selfies for one, because I thought selfies were very indulgent.
Okay. Sure. Yeah.
And so I think about them differently now, because how else are you going to sell makeup unless you take a picture of your face?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I think you do a good job. I've actually watched a handful of them.
Nice.
Obviously, it has no interest to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
But I also like people that are trying to be influencers and do their things and take their life by the balls.
Yeah.
Apologetics for my crudeness. But I think you do really well, like with the stuff that you do. Like you're very well versed in the things that you're trying to teach these young ladies or whoever's using this makeup, and pretty cool. And then the transformations are also really wild. I'm always like, it's so crazy the way like women can transform themselves with like just something as simple as
shapeshifters.
Yeah, right. It's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Can I ask you a question though? I'm curious. Why is it like it's mandatory for these women to have makeup and hair done to do these ballroom dancing? They can't just go.
Yes, absolutely. 100%.
What if somebody's just a badass? I mean, they're just super good at ballroom. They're like a genius at ballroom dancing. They don't want to wear the makeup and all that stuff.
Well,
they're so good.
It's not. I mean, it doesn't matter really how good you are. When you do any type of competitive dance, there's lights you have to worry about. And when a light is hitting somebody's face, depending on how bright the light is, their face just kind of, washes out. If you don't have things to make it stand out.
Okay.
And so that's what the makeup's for.
I see.
And it just has to be heavier than normal because it needs to show up. And then the hair has to basically be like glued to your head, because you don't want to whack your partner in the face with your hair. Yeah. And you don't want it all in your face whenever you're trying to dance, because it's one thing you don't really want to worry about. You don't want any malfunctions.
Sure.
Whether costume or hair when you're dancing. It's the last thing you want to worry about.
Sure. So, I mean, you're the expert. I'm just asking. I don't know about the stuff. I believe, though, there's got to be somewhere in the world of 7 billion people, half of which that are ballroom dancing. I'm just kidding. That there's got to be somebody that out there, some lady or somebody that's just like, I love ballroom dancing, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Well, there's these competitions that are a little bit more low key, like Jack and Jill competitions. And
Jack and Jill, what's up?
Yeah, Jack and Jill is just like a competition where you can go and you have like
a water at the top of the hill.
Right. You have like a bunch of guys and you have a bunch of girls, and then you draw a number. And so like one guy dances with some girl he didn't come with, and then some girl picks another number and dances with some guy she didn't go with. So you really have to be kind of on top of your game as far as leading and following to be able to do those type of competitions. And it's more along the lines of like West Coast swing or East Coast, something like that. Okay. Not necessarily waltz and foxtrot, but you don't really see a whole lot of hair and makeup on those occasions because there's not all the lights and the fuss.
Yeah. I gotcha. So I want to test your ballroom IQ here, if I may, not to put you on the spot, but hey, you're on the spot.
Okay.
What do you know, like when ballroom dancing came into existence? Like what's the origin of ballroom dancing?
I have no idea.
You don't know? Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's what I was asking.
Yeah, I know that's whenever you start teaching, you're just kind of trying to focus on the steps and try to focus on, like me, learning how to be the guy and learning how to be the girl at the same time, which is very difficult. But my goal this year is to actually learn the history of all the dances and where they come from and how that can help me going forward.
Yeah.
Because I know a lot of people who are very proficient in the history of ballroom, but I have not even ventured into that information yet. So I don't know.
If somebody's listening to this broadcast right now of us speaking about this, waxing about ballroom dancing, and they're like maybe on the fence or interested in like, oh, I've always thought about like dancing, ballroom dancing and stuff. What would your advice be to them? Why should they get into it? What are they going to get out of it besides just being able to have the structure and discipline to be able to do these steps and twirls and movements that they couldn't do prior?
Right. Well, dancing in general is fun, regardless of whether you're ballroom dancing or just, doing whatever around the house. It's really hard. You'll be really hard pressed to find somebody who is dancing and not smiling at the same time, or onlookers smiling and enjoying what they're watching. So it's fun for one. But it really is a total body workout. I mean, it's not just physical, but it's mental as well. So, for people that are struggling with a lot of really hard things at home, or in their life, it's a really good way to escape in a very safe environment and a constructive escape instead of just a, zone out type escape.
Right.
So for a lot of people, it's for mental health, and some other people, it's just typically for the activity of it being fun, and then for others, it's for exercise because you're working every muscle from the toes up.
Yeah. So. It really is. It really it teaches you a lot about posture and just discipline of your body. Like you don't ever think about like the way you can move your body in this very structured, uniform way. And I learned that doing it myself. It also, I was doing it around the time I was doing martial arts as well. And I learned that like doing ballroom helped me better to be more like adequate with like my martial arts teachings, like especially my footwork. My footwork was a lot more crisp.
Yeah. It's very accommodating to other sports. I mean, it doesn't really matter what sport you're playing, whether it's football or soccer or baseball or softball. It's all about agility. The more agility you have, the better you're going to be, really, whatever sport you're doing. So it's good all around. But to me, the reason why it took me a year to use the certificate that I had was one, I was hoping that my husband or boyfriend, whatever he was at the time, was going to go with me, and he never did. So there was a fear that he wasn't going to go and that I wasn't going to have a partner and that I wasn't going to enjoy myself. And I was intimidated because when I think ballroom before, I thought, like snooty, snobby people who were going to give me the time of day. And when I went, it was just completely blew everything in my mind apart. It was fun. Everybody was friendly. There's a whole new group of people that you can meet and hang around with, and they're like real, and they're not snobby, and they're quite the opposite. And so you kind of get this whole new network of friends that you didn't even really know or just didn't know that you needed.
Right.
And so you guys all go out and you dance and you have fun, and, then you go about your lives, and then the next couple of weeks you go out and dance and have fun. And then, it was fantastic.
Do you think that a lot of people have opinions that this stuff goes hand in hand with like romance? Would you say that's a very good assessment or not a good assessment at all of ballroom dancing?
No, I don't think it's a good assessment. I think you can meet women or men if that's what you're choosing to do. But then again, you have a goal in mind and you have a purpose. But if you are taught properly, then you have good dance etiquette. So you learn how to treat a woman properly. And that's a really big part of ballroom dancing versus what some people call bar room dancing, which is completely
barroom dancing.
That's
hilarious.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
It's completely different type of dancing.
Did you come up with that yourself?
No, okay. I cannot take credit for that.
It's clever.
It is clever.
It's funny. It's really funny.
Yes. But it's a lot more, I don't know the word, not invasive. It's not as invasive as what you might think. There's not as, there obviously there is connection and there is physical touch, but it's just not as much as what you would assume.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be romantic in any way, shape, form, or fashion, unless you are going for that. And most guys or girls that are looking for that connection are asking around who else is looking for that connection and not just trying to make that connection happen with whoever's there. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, and two, there's one good thing that used to happen before COVID where we would swap partners consistently. I'm sure you remember the group classes.
I do, yes.
We would have all the guys lined up on one side, all the ladies lined up on one side, and the guys would just swap, or the ladies would swap. The best part about that was that everybody would get a chance to learn how to lead and follow different people. So you don't get just used to your partner. It makes you a better follower. It makes you a better leader. We don't necessarily do that much anymore because of COVID. A lot of people don't want to switch partners anymore, and it totally makes sense. So if somebody's coming, then they ask, who's single, who's going to be the person that's single. So we don't have to really, that one more element that's taken away.
Yeah, well, I've got to apologize to the ballroom gods because I did not, up to this point, I didn't realize just how philosophically deep concept of ballroom dance was.
Yeah.
I just looked at it as like this physical thing that happens, is a challenge to like be able to like move and be able to be more sociable and like dancing and stuff like that, or a way to pick up chicks. If I'm just being honest, like I feel like a lot of just mongoloid cavemen brained people like myself would probably look at it in that way. I mean, like, I'm being a little silly, but like I just didn't realize the depth of that, because that was like, you're like blowing my mind, like saying all this stuff. I was like, wow, that's
guys generally have a lot harder time with it than the girls do.
Why do you think that is?
Well, one, it's intimidating. Two, it's sissy, if you will.
Oh, right. Because my friend saying, "Oh, you're going to be this effeminate male," and you're just like waltz out of the way.
But I mean, from a girl standpoint, if I did not have a husband, I mean, there is nothing hotter than a guy who knows how to move his body. Nothing.
I agree.
Besides maybe who's somebody who can play the guitar and move their body at the same time. It's fantastic.
Interesting.
Yeah. But having said that, it's not as effeminate as guys would think.
I don't think it is. I did it. So.
It's a very masculine sport, because you cannot in any way be loose or flimsy. You have to be like a man. You have to take charge of your role, and that kind of connects to your home life too, especially if you have like a married couple, where the guy, and unfortunately in this society doesn't really rule the roost at home very much. It's usually the woman. And
I think we can say that on there.
Right.
I'm kidding.
So they get to spend an hour where the wife or the girlfriend or the whoever has to follow. She must learn how to follow the lead of the guy, which is a very hard thing for women to do. But it's a really fun concept for guys to be able to have that time period where they're just the one that has to tell them what to do in a nice way.
Right.
Right. But I really see guys that were hesitant to come actually enjoy themselves way more than they thought they would.
Yeah.
And I don't make it stuffy or uncomfortable. I try to make it as fun as possible.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's. I don't know. I have nothing to say to that.
Wow.
No follow up. That's. Amen and amen. Matt, I just want to tell you, it's hot as hell in here, brother. You got the heat on like 99 degrees right now. I just want to tell you that. Maybe it's because I'm drinking Pepsi.
It's like, cool.
It's pretty hot. What?
He's like, cool.
It's cool.
Does it bother me?
Yeah, he doesn't care. Matt doesn't care about anything, man. He's just living in this void that we call the world. So, do you have any, grand aspirations outside of ballroom dancing, or maybe even makeup, that you would like to see? What is so 5th grade you wanted to have her own ballroom studio, and she does. What does you now, present you, want for future you? Is that even a thing?
Well, I do a lot of things. I kind of
we your mom,
just
and a wife, and
jack of all trades, I guess. My dad was very big into everything as well. A little car stuff and woodworking and just anything that he could really get his hands on, he would do. So he taught me how to make sure that I know how to do things that I don't have to pay for, like plumbing and electrical work and
really
just building things in general.
So you do all that. So
I try my best.
So hilarious because I just said earlier in this podcast about how like when I first met you, I was like, man, just talking to you, I don't know anything about you. You didn't say all this crap to me. Yeah. I was like, she seems like a very, very industrious young lady. And boom.
Yeah.
Lo and behold.
Well, when I was younger, my dad would force me to do the stuff that I didn't want to do. And, he's like, one day you'll thank me. And so now, yeah.
Better get him a good birthday present every year.
Every year, yeah.
It's Cuban cigars for pops.
I mean, I'm not super great with electrical stuff, but I can install a fan and a light switch, basic stuff.
I need some stuff done around my condo. I'm going to have to bring you over. Put you to work.
I mean, I know how to, fix, like take out the guts of a toilet and put the guts back in and stuff like that.
Whoa.
And I built my son a bunk bed.
Like from scratch?
Like from scratch.
You cut down the tree and sawed it.
No, not
sanded
cut down the tree.
Stained it.
Yeah. I don't have a planer. I can't do that. So yeah. We bought you don't know this, but we bought a foreclosure. Me and my husband did 6 years ago, and we've been remodeling it as we go and learning things as we go. And I guess overall, if my future me could have a plan, would be to have a house that we flip and we rent it and have some residual income and not have to actually work, and then I could pursue dance as much as I wanted to and have, extra income coming in.
There's this book called Mompreneur. I think that's how you say it. It's an amalgam of mom, mother, and
mompreneur.
Mompreneur, maybe that's it. And I feel like you belong inside of that book. You are. You're just so.
But a lot of women are like this. I mean, the more I'm on Instagram and the more I reach out to just like the everyday female, there's a lot of women out there that try to do for themselves.
Well, you know more of them than I do.
I mean,
I don't know guys that do this. So,
well, I didn't want to be put in a position where I would have to rely on somebody to take care of what I needed. I wanted to be able to do it if it needed to be done and not have to wait or not have to pay for somebody to do it. It's like if I can do it myself, I'm not going to pay to have it done. If I can't do it myself, then I'm more than willing to, search somebody out and have them do it. But for the most part, I try my best to do what I can do.
Yeah. You're hyper independent.
Yeah.
Interesting. Very. What's your husband's name?
Kyle.
I'm so sorry, Kyle. I know, I'm kidding. I'm joking. Joking once again. That's really great, though, Lorie. I think that's one of the things that drew me to you because, like, I'm a big time person about like independence and freedom and self-sufficiency from like an early age. Like, I wanted to make my own money. Like, I wanted to do things like, hey, what can I do for you? Give me a nickel. Like I was like that.
Yeah.
And so like I've kind of like I adopted that like to the core, but like through the years it's so easy to get tied up in just like the just monotonous bullshit of just working.
Yeah.
Just inserting yourself into the matrix. And I think for the longest time I lost sight of that. And then something just woke me up one day, like a bolt of lightning right through my cerebellum.
Yeah.
That was like, hey, you know what all your issues are, man, is you need to be doing something for you. You need to make your own money. Like you're making money for somebody else. You're doing something for somebody else.
Right.
What are you going to do for you? You know what I mean? You're leaving your livelihood up to someone else and it's not up to them. It shouldn't be anyway.
Right.
If you're a man, then you got to take what you can get out of this life and not like have it handed to you. And like that's always been like my motif. And I've struggled and I've eaten the sandwich because of that motto, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah.
So I'm right there with you, sister.
It's tough to work for somebody else.
It really is. I can't, like I've learned,
so tough.
I learned for the longest time that I don't like being told what to do. I don't like people telling me what to do. I'm way too punk rock for that. That sounds funny, but it's 100% like, and especially people I feel like aren't like, they're not on my level. And I don't mean like in a condescending way, but we're just not speaking the same language.
Right.
And I like you taking orders from somebody who's not speaking the same language, nothing's getting done.
Yeah.
So.
My favorite when I worked for somebody else was always the yearly review and how well you take constructive criticism.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm all for constructive criticism all day long, but you're not giving me constructive criticism. You're telling me what to do and then making me do it.
Yeah.
That's not constructive
criticism. I told
criticism.
a boss of mine once about something like that. I was like, yeah, I get it. I get what you're saying, what you're telling me. I was like, I just feel like you're not smart enough to tell me these things.
Yeah.
He didn't like that very much.
True, yes.
Got me in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, sure did.
But hey, whatever.
Right.
I've found a place in life where I'm very happy now, and I'm just keep moving up, keeping that growth mindset. Very important.
Mm.
Okay. Still water grows stagnant after all. I'm so glad you came on the show. You having fun so far?
Yeah, sure.
Well, you're about to not have fun.
Uh-oh.
I'm just kidding.
No,
joking.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for the time period.
This Pepsi's got me hyper. Caffeine, haven't had it all. Making me act up. You feeling good? You relaxed?
Yeah. Yeah, more so than when I started.
You were nervous. Can I talk about that?
Fine.
She was nervous, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Nervous.
Yeah, to the point that I said no the first time you asked.
I don't know. Did you say no or did I say no?
No, I said no.
She did say no. I wanted you to come on because I know how you are, like about all this stuff, and I wanted to talk to you about it. You are an entrepreneur, you're industrious, you're independent. And my show is loosely based around the emotional health of an individual, but also I think iTunes categorize, and this is before I even put a label on it, they categorized this as self-help or something like that. And I guess because I always speak about people taking their life by the balls and doing what they want to do in life and being happy and producing their own fruit.
Right.
I guess maybe that created some algorithm. They're like, oh, this is a self-help podcast. And it's really not. This is just me, an average guy with who's not very smart and doesn't have a great education, talking to people about their lives in the middle part of society.
Okay.
Blue collar conversation. That's what it is.
Blue collar conversation. I like it.
But let me ask you, Lorie Flanagan. Flanagan. Is your husband Irish?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does he ever talk with an Irish accent to you?
No.
That
would drive.
Lorie, wake up. I made you some potatoes. They're so delish.
It would drive me crazy, but in a good way.
And I bought this new shillelagh on eBay.
Yeah. Interesting though, my those DNA tests that you can take. My dad got one for his 60th birthday, and he took it and found out that he on his side is mostly Scottish.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Well, War Damn Eagle.
Yeah.
Or Roll Tide, whichever one you drink.
Yeah.
Whichever cup you drink from.
I don't really care.
You hillbillies. I'm kidding. I'm Alabama. My family's going to be like, how dare you? You're an Alabama fan. Yeah.
Sacrilege.
Sacrilegious, right? Then I'm going to get canceled. I'm canceled because I went against Roll Tide.
Yeah.
Lorie Flanagan, what do you wrestle with in life? What are the monsters under your bed, demons in your closet? What are the things that you are struggling with nowadays, or any days? Or
being a mom. Yeah. Being a mom, being a wife, big struggle.
Why?
Why? Well, I don't know how you explain being a mom. It's
Do you ever go back and think like how much like more simpler or proficient, use that word earlier, your life would be with your endeavors if you didn't have that just yet? You ever think about that stuff?
Maybe.
There's nothing wrong with that. Everybody thinks about that stuff. It doesn't mean you love your family any less. It's just hypothetical thought.
No, I do make a joke several times whenever I go out with my students dancing, and I'll have to go home at some point, obviously, and I'll say if it weren't for these kids, I could stay out dancing all I wanted
these
to.
Darn kids.
But honestly, if it weren't for them, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now.
Yeah, because
it's really for them that I opened this studio so that I could. Obviously it's for me a little bit, but the studio aspect of it and opening that business is to create hopefully a security for us down the road so that we have a stable income coming in. Because we have had several, should we call them opportunities? I don't know.
Sure.
Situations in our marriage where one or both of us have been, out of work or lost and looking for something. And I just want to create something that I'm somewhat in control of. And I know that, I can only control it to the extent of pandemics and, all
Yeah,
that stuff out
right.
there. But do with it what I can and, help it reach a certain point and part of the community so that it's known and it's there for other people's mental health. But I don't think I would be as gung-ho about it if it weren't for them. Because, I don't know, they drive me to do what I would not have done. It's like making a bunk bed. I probably wouldn't have made a bunk bed unless my kid really wanted it so bad. And if it weren't $500 for one,
wow,
I would probably have just bought one.
Yeah.
So they do drive me to do things. But it's tough to be a mom. I mean, to constantly be needed 24/7, 365 days a year from everybody, not just them, but from my husband. And it gets to be a lot in a daily basis because I'm very much an introvert, and I do not.
Not you.
I do not like being out and about, I guess.
Wow.
And so being a ballroom,
this one's surprising to me.
Being a ballroom instructor is very difficult in that aspect of my life because I do want to socialize and be out there, but at the same time, I'm perfectly happy being by myself.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of a struggle and a hurdle that I've had to get over to become a ballroom teacher. And I remember my first lesson that I had to teach, I was crying.
Oh, wow.
Just hysterically crying because I didn't think I could do it. And it turned out fine, and it's been going fine ever since. But the kids have definitely broken me out of my shell a lot, which would not have been there had it not been for them. So I'm grateful for them for a lot of things. But man, when you have somebody 3, 4, 8, I don't know how many people's in my house, calling your name 8 million times a day and just always wanting, and then never necessarily giving anything back. I mean, obviously they give me things that may not be tangible, but just consistent giving of yourself all the time.
Yeah.
That's just what moms do. And whether it's, like not eating for the entire day to make sure everybody else is fed, just not necessarily because you don't have food to feed yourself, you just don't have time.
Yeah.
And putting all of the needs like showers and breaks and just rest time, you just don't get.
Yeah. And
then if you work, then you go work, and then people need you there, and then you come home, and then you're still needed. And it's a wonderful feeling, but it's also it's a lot. It's a lot.
That's heavy. Yeah. And then you also are having to ration your time and affections for these individuals, right?
Yes.
Because you have 3 kids.
3 kids.
You have to ration all that love and affection and attention, and then a husband as well.
And
make sure everybody's loved and taken care of and not
feel that way.
And feel that way. Mm-hmm. And then also love on yourself.
Yeah. But
that's important.
Yeah.
And that's just, and then you have friends and then family outside of that. That's,
yes.
What a hell of an undertaking. Right?
It is. I'm not really good on the friends aspect, like, like true friendship as far as like going out with my friends or whatever doesn't necessarily happen. But most moms know that. I mean, most moms get that. And the times where we do get to hang out is treasured, but for the most part, it's very difficult for it to happen unless you have your kids with you. So the thing that I do for my mental health is the dancing, because that is my escape.
Your outlet.
And it's always been my escape. So
that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool.
Yeah. So that's the little element that belongs to me. The other reasons belong to my family, but that's my reason.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Well, all right then.
Yeah.
How about them apples?
Mm-hmm.
Lorie,
yes.
What is, this is a 2-part question.
Uh-oh.
It's very personal.
Okay.
Not very personal, pretty personal.
The last one was pretty personal.
Hey, you wanted to come on here. You got to do your thing. What is one of the, I mean, you can choose however you want to answer this. It's not like it's open-ended.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not specific.
Okay.
What is one of the saddest moments in your life that you experienced, and what did you take away from it as a lesson or some piece of education?
Yeah. Okay, so probably had a lot of them, as most people do.
Sure.
But maybe the most recent was when I was trying to open up the first studio, and me knowing in my heart and in my brain that it was like, it's what I'm supposed to do. Like, I'm supposed to be a dance teacher for whatever that's worth. And as silly as it may sound to some, that's what I feel like I was put on this earth to do. And, besides being a mom, but when the dream was within like touching distance, it was within reach. I was going to open up a studio with a friend of mine who was also a dancer. And I found out I was pregnant, and I was excited, and I was like, oh, this is going to be so doable because, managed the other studio with my son in tow. And then I found out it was twins, and I was like, whatever, it's not a big deal. I'm just going to do this and rock it. It's not a big deal.
Yeah.
But then my family was just like, there's absolutely no way that you can make this happen. Like, 0% chance that this is going to work. So, and not knocking my family in any means, but they were just so much like, absolutely 100%, this is not going to happen. And just like for the longest time, I was like, I felt like I was 5 and somebody telling me what I could and couldn't do. And it was disastrous in my head. Just complete mental, physical breakdown for a very long time. And it didn't go over too well between me and my husband and the conversations that I had with my family. I was very hurt and angry at them for basically telling me that I couldn't do this.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have worked out, honestly, if I really think back. In hindsight, it's always 20/20, but I could not have done anything in the caliber or range that I wanted to with a studio and having twins at the same time. So it was a good thing that they forced me out of it, but it was extremely hurtful at the same time. So it was a really big deal. But I'm over it, and it all turned out for the best. And, what can you do with that?
What was your biggest takeaway from it, though, I guess? Like, what did you learn from it?
That nothing in my life works on my timing. It's all on God's timing. There's absolutely nothing I can do to control that.
Okay.
So I have to just be at peace with it and just know that in the end, whatever works out is going to be for my good and not for my bad.
Glass half full person. Second part of this question, what is one of the happiest, most joyous moments of your life also, and what did you take away from that?
Oh my goodness. Well, that's a lot harder to say.
It could be one of them. It could be more.
Yeah, gosh.
That's good though. Like, what's funny is like I made a joke one time with somebody on the show when I asked the first half of the question, which is, what is the saddest moment of your life? And they were like, oh man, let me think. And I was like, oh my gosh, you got to think about this. Is that many, huh?
Yeah.
And then so now you're doing the opposite. You're thinking about the happy ones, which is good because you're having to like thumb through a catalog of really awesome, badass moments, and that's good.
I could say it was, the day my kids were born. But in all honesty, I was so nervous on both occasions that I can't say that it was just extremely joyful. I was nervous to be a first-time mom when I had my first kid, but then I was extremely nervous to be a twin mom. So I was just not sad, but I was just extremely anxious. So just a everyday life is my happy moments.
Everyday life?
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, because the kids are little, and I'm trying my best to soak up every ounce of littleness, like those moments that you will forget later. I'm trying my best not to forget them.
Yeah.
So I'm as present as I possibly can be. And don't get me wrong, with being a mom, everything's extremely tough. But on my good days, my good days are my happy days, if that makes sense.
Sure.
So, because there's days out of the month where they're not good days.
I can imagine.
But I guess there's several times throughout each month that there's very good days, and those are my happy days. I don't really have any that stand out above or beyond
Monday,
the others.
Tuesday, happy days. Wow.
Yeah.
In a finality to this episode, what I usually ask people about their own personal legacy, but your children mean so much to you, and you are obviously a beacon for them and their development, which I assume any good mother would be. Mm-hmm. So what legacy do you want to leave behind for them? Like, what do they remember you by? What poems do they write? What songs do they sing?
I guess what I want to be remembered for is being a kind person, and just always being willing to help out someone else. And I feel like I haven't really gotten there yet to the extent that I want. I remember growing up, my mom, that's what I will probably always remember her for, is her generosity with just strangers at random times.
Yeah.
And it was more or less the elderly. I would always see her help out. Like if you saw somebody that couldn't reach something in the grocery store or whatever, those little moments just stood out in my mind. And I want to be that, to emulate her. But at the same time, like, I feel like the skills and things that I got from my dad, I want to be able to help out in so many other ways than just handing somebody an item off a shelf, But all the little things matter. So it doesn't really, I don't guess it necessarily matters what it is. I just want to be able to extend myself in that way and be remembered for that. Kind and helpful. Yeah.
Boom. That's a wrap.
Okay.
That was great.
Thanks.
That was really, really awesome.
Thank
you for sharing all that, and especially the more personable, intimate details to you specifically. We appreciate that here at the Wrestling Diaries, and I'm sure people listening, people that don't know you, appreciate it.
I didn't say banana one time.
Yeah, you didn't. And in case anybody's wondering, banana was her safe word, in case I got her into some sticky territory or like too deep of waters. And you didn't. You did well. You did
Thanks.
very, very well. And the whole nervous thing, I feel like if you were still nervous, you hit it very well. So
okay, good.
You did very well, Lorie.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. Before I sign us off, I'm going to get you to plug in first of all, you can do whichever order, your makeup stuff, what you do, your makeup tutorials or whatever you're offering there. And then obviously your ballroom studio, and people can sign up and come learn how to dance and be cool.
Well, so on Instagram and on Facebook, I am listed as Bare Beauty 3897, and the Bare is Bare Beauty. And I really just want to help anybody that is somebody who just doesn't have time for makeup. I mean, makeup can be so much, and it doesn't have to be. So that's kind of what I'm here for that. And if you don't know how to wear makeup or have never been taught, then I can help you with that. Because a lot of women are never actually taught how to wear makeup. They just watch from other people or, try to watch YouTube or whatever.
Could you help me do my makeup?
If you want.
Okay.
Yeah, if you want. And
I think I'm joking. I might hold you to that. I'm crazy.
Yeah.
I might hold you to that. You'll see.
And then as far as learning how to dance, my website is twistballroomstudio.com. And I do have a group page on Facebook. It's searchable, but it is a private group. So you do have to ask permission to join.
I feel so honored.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stop there.
I'm most likely not going to, it's there for me to watch out for trolls, not just be an open group where anybody can join, because I want to keep it safe and friendly. And
shouldn't have invited me then.
Well, you barely comment at all, so I will remove you if I have to. But it's Twist Ballroom Studio as well, and it's just a group page. So if you want to learn how to dance and work on your mental health and work on your physical health,
Ooh, I like that.
then ballroom dancing is the best way to do that and have fun while doing it.
Awesome. When I write the synopsis for this episode, I'll make sure to also post links for people to just click on.
Thanks.
Lorie, thank you so much.
Yeah.
You are so delightful.
Thank you.
Beautiful woman, inside and out, with a great head on her shoulders. Ladies and gentlemen, hope you enjoyed today's episode. Check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, and a host of other ones that have audio podcasts. We're trying to make some strides in that. So check us out, leave us a review, share our content, especially if you're in the local Birmingham area. These are people that are in your area. These are your peers. These are people around you. So I think they deserve your attention, right? For the video content, go to YouTube, like, share, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell for more content. Today's episode, makeup and ballroom and independence and all these things. Oh my, right? What are you chasing in life, right? What is it? What is the things that you're chasing, and what's the meaning of it to you? Is it just something that helps you like get better at being you, or is it also something that helps you be a better person to society? Not that I don't know. I'm not trying to compare like ballroom dancing to like trying to save society. It could, who knows? I don't know. It's not up for me to decide, but what are your aspirations for stuff? And also, what's your independence? You know, Lorie's a very, very independent person. And I feel like there's something so powerful in that, because like you don't have to worry about someone else taking care of you. We made that conversation. We had the conversation earlier about like working a job and you are at somebody else's beck and call and at their mercy. And is that what you want? Here's the thing. If that is what you want, then do that. That's great, right? God bless you for it. But if you don't, and I believe that so many people, there's that quote like most men lead lives of quiet desperation. I don't think that's just men, like males, but also mankind as a whole. People do live lives of quiet desperation. They think this is what they should do. You know, this is the job I should work. This is when I should get married. I should have kids by 35. Or like all this just silliness. What do you really want? And what do you want to do? And how can you be free? And this is what I took from this episode, right? A lot of my episodes, this is what I take from. It's about freedom, right? This is what I really preach about. So I don't know if I should change my niche market to freedom. This is about freedom. Let freedom ring. Let's get American flag up in here, Matt. But I don't know, something for people to think about. What do you want to do with your life? And is it good and just and sound? And if so, then maybe you should pursue that. Maybe that's the thing you should dance around. I don't know. Just a regular guy. I'm not a professional, so don't take my advice. Think about it on yourself, meditate on it, dance on it, drink on it, eat on it, fight on it, do whatever you want to do. But tell me, what do you wrestle with and how can you beat it? One love.